Do you feel like you know exactly what you should be doing to lose weight? You just aren't? Like, you know that if I just ate right and didn't snack and exercised and got to bed on time, I know that I would lose weight. If you had a bunch of healthy habits, if you will, instead of the shit ones you have right now that are keeping you overweight, then you would actually reach your goals. So you know which habits you should have, but you aren't doing them. And why do you think that is? Well, I'll tell you why I think that is. I think that is because nobody really ever taught us how to form healthy habits. Maybe our parents. Some of our parents did some healthy habits, I guess. Obviously, not all of them, or we wouldn't necessarily be struggling. Sorry, Mom. Rest in peace. I'm sorry to blame you. But anyway, that aside, right? We know what we're supposed to be doing. We aren't doing it. So what can we do to change that? How can we introduce healthy habits into our life and make a lifestyle switch to do these new things consistently so that we can actually reach our goals? And who am I to be talking about this? Well, glad you asked. My name is Heather Schucker. I am a weight loss coach. I'm also a nurse practitioner with 18 years of healthcare experience. And perhaps most importantly, I have lost 80 pounds myself through low carb and intermittent fasting. So I know a few things about weight loss, and I am here to share them with you. Now, when it comes to forming healthy habits, one of the reasons that people don't do it is because it's really effortful. It takes a lot of applied mental energy to get yourself going on a new habit, and people just don't spend the time sometimes. So I thought it would be a good idea for us to figure this out together. You're already here. Let's go ahead and sit down and come up with a strategy, come up with a game plan to get you going on new healthy habits so that we can kind of get the ball rolling toward you reaching your goals. Doesn't that sound like a great idea? So do me a favor, get yourself like a notebook or a pad of paper and a pen or a pencil, and let's get to work. Like, no, really. Pause the video, go get the stuff, come on back, hit play, and we will get to work and try and figure out how we can get you going with healthy habits. Because here's the thing. Friend, no one is coming to rescue you. Like, this is it, man. You got to figure this stuff out for yourself, or you are just going to continue down the path exactly as you are. Nothing's going to change. You're going to stay in the same habit loop that you're in now, and you're going to keep getting what you always got unless you do the work to think about what habits that you should be incorporated instead, and then taking those steps. That's the most important part, taking the action that you need to take in order to get those habits as part of your new way of doing things. So that involves some mental energy. We got to sit down. We got to think about it. One of my favorite stories about how no one is coming to rescue you comes from the third Harry Potter movie, which is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. In that movie, Harry and his friend Hermione have like a device that helps them travel in time. So they're able to go back in time and see this scene where Harry is battling with Dementors, these bad guys that are trying to like suck his soul out of his body. And because he's from the future and he has already lived through this event, he knows he makes it, right? Because he still exists. He came from the future to come see it, right? So he knows he survives it. But in his memory, his dead father is who rescued him from these bad guys. And so as he and Hermione are watching this unfold, he's watching these guys attack him. He's like, okay, any minute my dad's going to come and rescue me. And Hermione, who knows his dad is like, dude, nobody's coming. Like, you're dying. We're watching you die here. Like, your dead dad is not showing up to rescue you. And finally, future Harry, who is seeing his past self be attacked, is finally like, oh crap, I better go rescue myself. And that's what he does. He fights off the Dementors and rescues himself. And that, my friend, is exactly what you have to do if you are struggling with your weight, struggling with your health. If you are in a place where you don't want to be, the chances that somebody is going to come rescue you are slim, especially somebody who has already died, right? It's not likely. So you are your hope, right? So act accordingly. All right, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to write down all of the habits that you currently have that you think are contributing to your weight problem. Like all the unhealthy things that you're doing regularly right now that you just know these are a problem. And I want you to label that list bad habits. Go ahead and pause. Go ahead and do that. I'll wait. Did you do it? Okay, great. All right. The next thing that I want you to do is I want you to write down all of the good things that you are doing for your health currently on a regular basis. And I want you to label that good habits. Okay. Go ahead, write that down. Okay. Now write down all the things that would absolutely guarantee failure. Like if you did these things regularly on a consistent basis, you would absolutely fail. And I want you to call this your guaranteed failure habits. And I'll give you a second to do that. Go ahead and pause me. Did you do it? Okay, I'm going to put mine on the screen so you can take a look at what I came up with. The next thing I want you to do is on that guaranteed failure habit list, I want you to flip them. I want you to take every single thing on that list that you knew would guarantee failure, and I want you to flip to the opposite. So if you wrote something like eat out most or every meal, then you would flip that to never eat out or eat out really rarely. If you wrote down never exercise, you might flip that to become a regular exerciser. Okay? All right, go ahead and pause it. I'll wait for you. You got to do it though. So, okay. Did you do it? All right. Now, once you have that list, I want you to label that list your successful habits list. In addition to that list, I want you to add on anything else that is missing that you think would lead to the result that you want, that would also be a healthy habit that you think that would move you toward your goals and give you an extremely high likelihood that if you did it on a consistent basis, that you would reach your goals. And I'll put what I consider to be the successful healthy habits list on the screen somewhere around me. I haven't edited it yet, right? I'm filming right now, guys. I don't know where this is going to end up, but I'm going to put it on the screen. Now, you may have deduced that what I want you to do is I want you to compare your current bad habits with the guaranteed to fail habits list that you made and see how many there are that are in common. And then I want you to compare your good habits to the successful habit list and see how many of those that you are doing. Okay? And then how'd you do? How do you think you're doing? Okay, now all you have to do is just start doing everything on the successful habit list. Kidding. I'm kidding. Sometimes though, that's what we think we should do, right? Like here's 80 things that I need to be doing on a regular basis. I'm going to try and start doing them all on Monday, right? On the first of the month or on January 1 or on my birthday or whatever arbitrary date that's later. Certainly not today. Of course not today. But in some future day, my future self, who's going to have so much more motivation and energy than this present self, she is going to do all of these things perfectly, and then we will be healthy. And how has that worked out so far? Probably not good because you're still watching. So how about instead we do a more reasonable approach, which is to actually pick one thing? Because what do you think is more likely to have a higher chance of success? To pick one new habit or to pick as many as you have listed on your successful habits list? Now, if you're unsure, if you think that you came up with, all the best healthy habits, first of all, I trust your judgment. I am positive that you did. But in case you want my opinion, I did do a whole video about, weight loss and well-being habits that you are welcome to watch and get some ideas from. But truth be told, based on where you are going to be the best judge of what thing you believe is going to have the highest leverage. right? Oh, I'm sort of kind of exercising, I'm sort of kind of doing that, but I'm not doing that at all. I should really be doing that one. Or just the one that is going to help you do some of the other things naturally. Like that is kind of how you want to navigate that list and choose which one you're going to start with. Or you might be like many of my clients and be like, oh my God, can you just tell me? Can you just tell me? Do you realize how much I have going on? What is the right answer? The point is that there is not necessarily a right answer, but I got you. Don't worry, I got you. I will give you the top 3 that if I met you in person and you were to ask me, like, without knowing anything about you, like, what should I be doing? What are the top 3 habits that you recommend for someone who's trying to get started on weight loss? I'll tell you exactly what I would recommend. Here are the top 3 things that I would recommend in this order. Number 1, review your goals daily. Number 2, take a walk daily. And number 3, stop eating sugar and flour. Now, you might be skeptical. You might be skeptical of not only my list, but also the order in which I put them. So let me just explain to you why I put them in this order and why I chose them. Number 1, review your goals. Here's the thing. Your brain is incredibly powerful. It is like a supercomputer. Your subconscious is the sum total of the wisdom that you have earned throughout your lifetime. You have access to all of that information and learning just in you, and you can tap into it. Like, I think the best analogy is from the movie War Games with Matthew Broderick. I mean, this one's going a little back. My younger viewers probably have never heard of this movie, but it's the one where it's like, shall we play a game? It's that's the movie, right? And in the movie, Matthew Broderick is like a computer hacker, and he hacks into these government computers so that he can have more power to play video games, right? And then, like, when you think about it, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, he wants to play his video, but he is hacking into the most powerful computers available to play video games. And, kind of the climax of the movie is like, oh, he also has access to like nuclear weapons, and he almost starts a thermonuclear war, which is not great. Obviously, it's not great, but that's the kind of power, like he had world destroying power at his hands. And he's using it to play video games. And I mention this because I'm wondering, with all that power and wisdom you have, what are you using it for? And I'm not saying you're not using it for great things. I'm sure that you are. What I'm saying is the reason that I think that focusing on your goals every day is because it gives you a way to focus the energy, the power, the might of the supercomputer that is your brain to the things that you're trying to accomplish. So when it comes to you wanting to be more fit and healthier and lose weight, or any goal that you have, really. I mean, I recommend that you don't just put health-related goals on the list that you review every day, but I certainly think you should add them so that your supercomputer knows what your priority is. It's basically like that's the application you want running every day, as opposed to, you're kind of not really setting up an intention of where you want your computer to focus that energy. So it might perhaps focus it on video games or scrolling social media or watching Netflix, right? There are lots of things that we could focus our supercomputer on. Perhaps it would be in our best interest to focus it on the things that we're trying to accomplish. And the way that we do that is every day. It's like we're telling our brain this is important. We're priming our brain to say, please help me with this. And your brain loves you. It's going to try to help you with this. It's going to look for opportunities throughout the day that will move you toward those goals. It's like magic, only it's not magic. It's just how brains work. Habit number 2, take a walk every day. Why would I pick that one? That one is specifically there to proactively keep you from quitting, to keep you in the game. Because think about the reason that people quit when they're trying to make dietary changes permanently, right? When they're trying to go from their old way of eating crap foods into a new way of eating, which is healthy foods. What happens? We can be going along great and then we quit. Why? Like, why have you quit in the past? You got stressed out because something big happened in your life, overwhelmed, anxious, you were feeling lonely, you had lack of willpower, you had crap sleep, and you just, weren't handling things well. Well, guess what exercise helps with? Yeah, all of those things. It's a matter of getting your kind of, mental health in a good enough place that you can be more consistent with your food choices. When we're exercising and our stress comes down, then we're not so stressed that we just have to eat whatever, right? Because we're not there. We haven't hit that point if we're exercising regularly. I'm not saying you never hit that point. I wish I could say you would never hit that point if you exercise regularly, but you're definitely going to tone it down, and you're going to be more likely, even if you do hit that point, to get back in the saddle more quickly if you are able to manage your stress better. So it's almost like, don't even bother trying to change your diet if you're so stressed out that the second something bad happens, you're going to go right back to eating the way that you were. You're just like, it's a foregone conclusion that stress is coming. And if you're not handling it well, you're going to reach for the things that you've always reached for. So if we can kind of lower that stress through regular exercise, then maybe we can keep you from reaching for those things as often. And habit number 3 are the things in question that I would, that you need to stop reaching for. And that's sugar and flour. And if you're not familiar with why sugar and flour are such a problem, then I highly recommend that you learn about insulin resistance. And I've definitely done videos about that as well. Maybe I'll put that on the screen. but sugar and flour are basically the problem when it comes to being overweight, and they are the solution when we're trying to get weight off. And when I say stop, and people think never again, and they get overwhelmed and they get like through the roof. So if stop just feels too much for you, then see how only having it once a week settles for you, right? See how, maybe getting it down to once or twice a week fits for you, right? So dramatically decreasing from where you are now is going to move you in the right direction. We don't need to hit perfect here. We got to get close enough. And right now, you're not close enough or you wouldn't have the problem, right? So we got to get you closer. So we got to pull back. And that would be your target, sugar and flour. All right, so now you've either picked your own habit to get started on, or you picked one of mine. All right, now how do you do it? How do you make it happen? Well, if you want the deep dive, I highly recommend that you read a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. There are several other habit books as well, and that gives you kind of a play-by-play on how to break a habit down into its tiniest little first step, and then get yourself doing that over and over again. But let's talk about that at least a little bit so that you can kind of have an idea of what you might do like now, starting today. So let's say you chose the habit of reviewing your goals every day, which would be the thing that I would recommend that you do pretty much from today on. Okay, that's what I think. From today on, just do that. And how would you get started? Well, obviously, first of all, you would write them down. And in general, when we're trying to incorporate habits into our life, James Clear says that there are 4 things that we want to do. We want to make it obvious, we want to make it attractive, we want to make it easy, and we want to make it satisfying. So how can we make it obvious? When it comes to our list of goals, we can write out that list of goals on a sticky note, and we can hang it on our bathroom mirror or our bedroom mirror or next to the coffee maker, somewhere that we are going to see it regularly. Next, we make it attractive. So when I read through my goals in the morning, I light a scented candle. So I have the pleasant aroma of a scented candle whilst I'm reading my goals out loud. And it just becomes like a little ritual. And that is a ritual that I look forward to doing. Third thing you want to do is make it easy. And one of the ways that you can make it easy is make sure it fits seamlessly into your life. If you already have a habit that you're doing, you can stack it. You can add this habit on the back end of that other habit. So for example, every morning I meditate for 10 minutes. That's a habit I already had in place. And then I added the ritual of lighting a candle and read through my goals after that. So that one habit, the meditation, became a whole little group of habits that I do at the same time. And if you're not into meditating, which you should be, that's a whole nother thing. But if that's not you, if you don't already have that habit, I don't want you, making a whole bunch of habits at once. Just add it to something you already do. Add it to brushing your teeth and then read your habits, or, making your coffee and then read your habits, or whatever is already a part of your regular day. Just tack this on to make it easy for yourself to fit in there. And then the last piece is make it satisfying. Give yourself a little reward. Now, I think that reading through your goals and visualizing yourself achieving them is intrinsically rewarding. Like, I feel a lot of satisfaction just thinking about achieving those things. But another way that you can do, other types of habits and make them satisfying is to use things like a habit tracker. So as soon as you're done with that, you get like a green check in an app, or, on your calendar. I really love to use gold stars in a calendar to show when I've exercised, so that you get that little reward for doing the thing. Because in general, habits are the cue to do the habit itself, and then the reward for having done it. And so if you can, add the cue, it's like I brush my teeth, and then add the habit stack, which is read through my goals, and then add reward, put a sticker in my calendar, I put a check in my habit tracker, or if you're a Mel Robbins fan, I high five myself in the mirror, then you're more likely to do it again if you got that reward. Your brain loves to be rewarded. That's how dopamine starts to form, right? You start to reward yourself, and eventually your body starts to crave that reward, and it knows it's got to do the habit to get the reward. So it's actually starting to crave the actual habit, and that's where you want to end up. So that's how you would do it with reading a goals list, which is kind of simple, right? That should be easy to fit in. So you should do it. So, right? Like, why wouldn't you? I'm telling you, it's a really good idea. And I'm a weight loss coach and you're trying to lose weight. Just do it. Just do it. Okay. But what if you're trying to add something that's a little bit tougher than reading through a goals list every day? What if you're trying to, make the habit of going to the gym every day? Well, now that one has got a whole lot more steps than reading through a list. And so when you're trying to get yourself to do something that has like complex steps, like you've got to, put on your gym clothes, you've got to get in the car, you got to go drive to the gym, like, you've got, a series of things that you need to do. Then what you want to do is you want to start with celebrating, that whole habit thing that I just went through, celebrating yourself as you do that first step. That might be putting on your shoes, right? And so, you would make it easy, make it obvious, make it attractive, and make it satisfying. And all of those things would be focused on getting your shoes on. Because ultimately, when you start down the path, if you basically break through the inertia, which is, the hard part, it's like, I don't want to. And then if you just get moving, it is so much easier to keep going than it is to get yourself moving. It's like Newton's laws, an object at rest stays at rest kind of thing. And so if the getting moving part is the hard part. And so if all you can do is get the shoes on, sometimes that's enough. And so reward yourself for getting those shoes on for as many days as it takes before you also get yourself out the door. And here's the thing about that push you have to get yourself when you first start going, that you don't have to push as hard the more often that you do this, for a couple of reasons. One, you're going to be doing the reward at the end. And so, like I said, your body is going to be craving that reward, which is just going to give you that little extra oomph to get you doing the habit in the first place. And the second thing is that some of the things that we do have intrinsic reward. Exercise is one of those things. So the very act of exercising releases, I've heard it described as hope hormones in your bloodstream. So you actually feel good. You feel better when you exercise. So you start to crave not only, the sticker on the calendar, but the physical sensation of feeling better when you exercise. So that if as you keep doing this more and more, your brain's like, well, yeah, I want to feel better. Let's go to the gym. Let's do this thing. And so you won't need the stickers and other things quite as much anymore. It becomes part of what you do and who you are. And when it comes to those things like going to the gym, it requires you to sit down and really think about, when is the best time that that's going to fit into my life? Like, do I have to get up early if I want to go to the gym? That means I need to maybe go to bed earlier and stop scrolling and watching TV so that I can get up earlier. Am I going to do it on my lunch break? Then am I going to have to take a shower after I do it? How much sweating am I going to do? Am I going to do it after dinner? Do I have the energy after dinner to do that consistently? Like, that's the mental work that you need to do. And in fact, I would love for you to do that right now. So I would love for you to pause and think, okay, this is the habit that I'm going to work on. This is when it would fit in my day. This is how I'm going to reward myself for doing it. This is how I'm going to make it easy and obvious and attractive. So go ahead and do that for right now, for whatever habit you're going to do. I'll wait. You can pause and I'll wait for you. Pause the video. Did you do it? Did you do the thing? Why did you do the thing? Yeah, you did the thing. You did the thing. You're an achiever, right? None of this happens. Nothing happens if it's a thought exercise. If you just watch the video and you're like, yeah, I should do that. My future self will do it. You have missed the whole point. Your now self needs to take action. Your now self should be writing those goals on a Post-it note and thinking about where you're going to put it because, where you're going to read it tomorrow morning. Your now self needs to think about, oh, what time am I going to the gym tomorrow? And do I got workout clothes? Where are they? Like, that is how you get momentum going and get things moving. This is not a drill, soldier. You need to do something in order for something else to happen than what keeps happening for you. And you would be shocked at how little of a first step is needed. Now, sometimes when it comes to, goals like exercise and goals like intermittent fasting, which is how I lost my weight, or, changing to a low carb diet, it's really hard to do that by yourself because of how long it takes and how long you're required to kind of keep pushing yourself before it becomes part of who you are. In those circumstances, you would be so well served to find a tribe, right? We're tribal. We love to fit into a pack. And if we are around a whole bunch of people that are doing what we're trying to do, we're just so much more likely to keep doing it. First of all, we're going to hear all the ways that they troubleshoot. If you're doing something that a lot of people have done, then all the pitfalls and problems and obstacles other people will have experienced. And so they can kind of teach you so that you don't have to go through all the same things that they did. But also, it's just comforting to know that you're not alone. It's like, I'm not out here doing something crazy, like not eating 3 days a week by myself. No, there's a whole group of people that do that with me. And so when you have that and you get to know these people and are friends with those people, you're just more likely to keep doing it because you're like, oh, that's what, me and my friends do. That's how we are. We're healthy. That's what me and my healthy friends do. And that's who you want to become. And so surrounding yourself with people doing the things that you're trying to do, it really taps into our tribal instincts and makes us way more likely to do the things. It's kind of like that, show me who your friends are and I'll show you who you are. It works. So there you have it. There's the down and dirty way of starting your first healthy habit to move you toward your goal. And ideally, you're going to work on this one until you kind of get yourself in the groove. And then you're going to come back to your list and you're going to pick the next one and you're going to keep going until you are cruising along, heading towards your goals. And one of the reasons that we stop working on our habits is because we just kind of forget, right? Have you ever, joined a gym and you start a workout program and then life happens and the next thing you know, you're like, whatever happened to that exercise program that I was going to do? And you realize you're paying for this gym every month and you're not using it at all. And then you're like, well, I don't want to cancel it because then I'm saying that I don't want to be healthy. And then you're really stuck because you don't want to spend the money, but you also, anyway, I'm not proud of it, but I have absolutely been there. And, part of what you need is reminders, right? You need reminders that, hey, that's right. Like, I'm working on my health. I want to keep my head in the game. And for that reason, to try and help you keep your head in the game and stay on track, I write a newsletter. And in that newsletter, I basically go step by step what I think people need to understand in order to successfully lose weight. I call it 42 steps because I think there are a lot of steps. This thing is hard, man. It takes a long time. There are a lot of steps you got to take. And so if you're interested, there is a link in the description. Make good choices.